Hello, everybody. I'm Elise as Another Truth here on YouTube. I hope that you're doing well and that you're taking great care of yourselves. Today, I wanted to address a community post that Without a Crystal Ball made on her community tab on her YouTube channel regarding some issue around people calling out her behavior around her neighbor. And I'd like to go through that verbatim and interject some of my own thoughts and opinions into it. Just a massive content warning. I may not be as PC as I prefer. I may drop the F bomb. I'm going to point out some uncomfortable things. And I will talk about doxing, abuse, throwing people under the bus, dehumanization, all the things that Katie Joy does through her, what I understand is emotional dysregulation and just her mean-spirited character, as I can put it. Okay, this is not to dehumanize her specifically, but it is to call out her behavior. And I will be mindful of that as I go along, but I can't guarantee anything. All right, so with that, let's begin. This is a post that Without a Crystal Ball had posted a few days ago in our community tab. Um, and this one is particularly dangerous, in my opinion. I really think that these Hi Friends posts are a call to incite discord into the lives of people who speak out against Katie Joy from Without a Crystal Ball. And, you know, there are a number of these posts. Now, I haven't read any of them. One, I guess, centered around her mental health. Another centered around the roof problem going on in her house, which I think that's very indicative of her foundation crumbling, so to speak, in her life. Very representational of that. Very representative of that. So let me go on to begin with this and give you my interpretation of this. I've been wanting to do this. I've tried it different ways. So here we go. Hi, friends. Good morning. I want to address something to put this to rest and to set the record straight. About a month ago, a creator made a video about an incident that occurred at my home with a police report involving our neighbors. Well, I don't know of any creator that specifically talked about the neighbors, just pulled that out. I know one creator who provided information of all of Katie Joy's behavior throughout the years of her being on YouTube. I mean, many people have done that with the stuff online. The FOIA request gives some of the background foundational information on what set Katie Joy off in her public videos and posts. Now, some of these posts, some of this stuff is already gone. And I want to make it clear here that Katie Joy is not a victim of anything in this situation, in my opinion. Also understand that everything that I say here is based on those opinions and perspectives and understanding of the facts. Even my interpretation of the facts is an opinion-making process. So please understand that I'm an expert in nothing here. Okay? I was a behaviorist in my early life, not a clinical one, but one in practice. And there are things that I pick up on very quickly. And I think the gift of having myself a personality disorder is I can spot the bullshit. And there are things I recognize. I wouldn't go this far, but there are things that I recognize. So that's where I'm coming from with this, okay? All right. So I think here is a great implication that she's set to target the person who used their American citizenship to acquire public information. I'll foreshadow here, she doesn't like it. She claims it's acceptable, but she has targeted people for doing it while she enjoys the privilege of doing it, hiding behind a loose definition she understands about journalism. And she can't hide behind that. She can exploit her pets. She can exploit her children all she wants, her family, other people. But we all know she's doing that to protect herself. It has nothing to do with the care and love of anybody else but herself, in my opinion. I understand that as a creator that my personal life can be of interest to people. Let me make it clear, okay? Nobody's really interested in Katie Joy's personal life. In general, I don't care about any online person's personal life. I don't care about their frizzy hair. I don't care if they have sucky coffee choices. I don't care if they prefer Monopoly to Scrabble. I don't care if their roof is falling apart. I don't care if they go to Target over Walmart or who they interacted with in a given day. I don't give a shit. Especially with people like this. People like Katie Joy assume that people are that caught up in that. Believe me, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I have not seen anybody caught up in it. Katie Joy made these things public herself by her own words, her own actions, and her own behavior. People just wanted the supporting facts behind this, the supporting events behind these things. So make no mistake, no one gives a shit what Katie Joy does in her personal life. That would be interesting. I have no problem with questions and are being transparent about any legal issues that I have dealt with over the years. Well, she's not transparent about any of her lawsuits or her settlement in those lawsuits. You can't trust her to be honest about any of that. I believe the incident that has been shared is being wildly over dramatized. Of course, she's going to dehumanize her neighbor's experiences with her, and you know, taking her dog's experiences in this and delegitimize those experiments, because that's what she does. She's doing this to protect her own ass. She's doing this to kind of soften the blow of the reality of how she has treated both her pets and her community that she apparently fucking hates. Okay? I did not watch the video and I do not watch videos about me. This is not true. She even admitted to watching certain videos in previous years' posts. Of course she does. She is that obsessed about herself and what people think of her that she is tuning into to that information. She's lying to you. She's lying to everybody. I know about this because people have left comments about this video in my community. Well, people may have alerted to her. That doesn't mean that she hasn't seen it before. Of course she's seen it before, or she saw it afterwards. But she wants to put the responsibility back on her audience for having, for having the compunction to post about it, to warn her about it. She's putting that blame back on them. When this incident happened, I did share on my channel my frustration. I deleted the videos and any mention of this incident out of respect for my neighbors and not to fan the flames any further. She did that because she got herself into some shit over it. She did that because she threw her neighbors under the bus, and they may have caught wind of that. I'm not certain. And I think she did lie about what her neighbors said or did to her, allegedly. To do that, to call attention to it, and to bring embarrassment and shame to them. And, in a form of harassment, leave it up to her to do that. The incident in 2020 led to no arrests, no charges, and no lawsuits. Well, Katie, you probably would have been the one to have faced all of those things. At the time, we were dealing with an issue with our neighbor and our dogs. The issue wasn't with your neighbor. It was with you and your irresponsibility regarding your dogs. Both of us have dogs, and the dogs were barking at each other, causing issues with the fencing. That makes no fucking sense at all. The fencing was the problem, Katie Joy, because you refused to anticipate what your pets needed before you brought them in your house after adoption, before adopting them. You didn't consider or anticipate their needs or what their behavior might have been. Now, sometimes we don't know that until we first adopt. I had not a fence issue, but one of my cats has pica, okay? And he is pica, however you say it. So we didn't know this until we brought him home, and we observed this, but we had to quickly and swiftly act because he was chewing on the plastic bags. Now, the only plastic bags we have are the garbage, garbage bags. Okay. We bring the garbage out once or twice a day. Depending, because we clean up after the cat. Sometimes we'll cook. We don't want garbage in the house. Obviously, we're very clean people. So he was gnawing on that. He got access to that. Now we can't help when plastic stuff comes in through Amazon packaging, no matter how much you request something alternatively, because the manufacturer puts that, or the individual packaging of certain food items, things like that. I mean, we use reusable stuff whenever possible for obvious reasons, but also we have to be extra careful. We didn't anticipate this, but we had to do something quickly when we started to notice this behavior. We didn't wait months down the road and for him to have a hospitalization over it. Well, sometimes you can't, cats eat things, and it's not always the owner's fault. Sometimes something's left out, a cat finds something. And we had to take our cat to the vet. We had to make sure there wasn't anything else going on, and there wasn't, other than, he doesn't eat cat grass, so he was probably eating that to soothe his digestion or something like that. So we had to replace that with a little bit of behavior modification and certain supplements that was okayed by the vet to help him with this. Okay. Over several months, there was escalating frustration. Both of our Both of us have dogs, and the dogs were barking at each other, causing issue with the fencing. Okay, I addressed that. Over several months, there was escalating frustration on both sides due to the issue with our dogs. The incident that occurred was regrettable for all parties involved. There wasn't anything regrettable from your neighbor's point of view. You took months to take care of this. You brought two vulnerable animals into your home with special needs, and you did not anticipate what they needed. The first time that you saw trouble was the time for you to act. You can't blame your neighbor for being upset. No, your neighbor didn't threaten to shoot your dogs. Your neighbor didn't do anything of a sort. That was evident in the material that Nini Marie put out. You were trying to throw your neighbor under the bus. You were trying to appeal to your community about how dangerous and awful your neighborhood, your neighbors and your neighborhood is by lying about your pride flag being ripped apart when it was obviously weathered by weather. And you were probably the one behind it, as the meme addressed. It was you who failed to live up to your responsibilities as a pet owner to take care of that. You're the bad neighbor, Katie Joy. You're the problem. No amount of scapegoating, lying, and telling everybody that they hate you because you're a Democrat. Give me a break. Grow the fuck up. This should not have gone on for months. This should have been taken care of right away. We had recently adopted a dog, a rescue, and were dealing with her jumping the fence and running onto our neighbors' yards. I know this was upsetting to them. We worked with local law enforcement or veterinarians to ease the issue. We also agreed to keep our issues offline and not discuss our issues on social media. You brought it to social media because something occurred there. This indicates something had happened because of your social media posts. People got wind of it and that you were dishonest about what happened. You put your neighbors in jeopardy, and you put your dog in jeopardy. You didn't, people like you just use animals and exploit animals to gain attention and sympathy. And maybe you collect animals because you care about them, but this isn't part of caring about them. You have to anticipate to some level anticipate their needs, especially with a special needs dog who's been through a lot of shit in her life. She's going to need strict boundaries in a safe place to be, where she's going to be loved and contained in a way that makes her feel safe. You didn't provide that for her at this time. It should not have taken you months to address this. This should have been addressed already. You should have had this stuff in plan to help her. Now, I haven't raised a dog since I lived overseas. Okay. Now here there are strict leash laws and laws around handling dogs. Okay. I live in the middle of urbanity, and that's just the way it is. It's very hard and difficult to be neighborly, but there's no choice because we're all crowded here. We're fighting for space, whether it's on the street or whether it's on the sidewalk, whatever. It's just part of life here. But you, Katie Joy, you think that the whole neighborhood should kiss up to you and accommodate your needs, your life, your animals that you chose to bring into your home. No. If they have to be responsible with their animals, so do you, and you have to if you love and care about them. But that has been addressed. I believe Cactus Bill has made some videos about that, about how you've handled your pets and how you've handled your pets around your child, which indicates to me that it's part of your character to exploit both for attention. There was no physical violence. There were a lot of angry words shouted, but the police came and calmed the situation down. It should have never gotten to that point. It should have never gotten to that point. You should have taken care of this from day fucking one. Since the incident, we have had no additional issues. We took steps to build onto our chain link fence, and there is now a barrier between both homes having fully fenced in yards. It was up to you to do that when you chose to bring that dogs in. You should have anticipated that, worked with your city ordinance, I don't know, whatever it is where you live, that is something that you should have asked questions about before bringing high maintenance dogs into your home. And dogs that needed specialized attention, specialized care, special training. The dogs weren't the problems. They didn't ask to go to your home, Katie. They didn't ask to be put in that position. Okay. She said we recently adopted a dog, a rescue. We're dealing with her. We adopted two pretty high needs rescue dogs that had histories of abuse and neglect and needed a bit of love and training. But 4 years later, we're on a much better track, and the girls are both much better behaved and trained. I'm not sure when you adopted. I thought you had two dogs all along that were rescues. I'm confused here. But anyway, yeah, well, the only reason why you say that, I mean, because you don't want your negligence of your pets pointed out, your alleged negligence. That's being negligent, is not respecting these things that you say you appreciated. The love and training. That's not something you may have wanted to do that, but you didn't think, do I have the means to do it? Do I have the time? Do I have the space? Do I have the necessary fencing? Do I have the necessary ability to train this dog? Should I hire a trainer? Should I work through an organization that deals with emotional support animals or service animals, or another agency that helps? There's no indication that Katie worked with anybody to help her with these animals. I'm sharing this now because I love the neighborhood that I live in. The fuck you love them? Come on. You threw them under the bus. You accused your neighbors of shredding your pride flag and all the damage there that could have been done by storms and your overall negligence of your property. And I say negligent, I don't know what your property looks like. There were some things that you shared that people had reposted. And, whatever. But you shared some of that damage. You shared things. And, I don't, whether or not your neighbor has done that, there's no indication that your neighbors damaged your property. You didn't make any report that I know of. And if you did, I would be very worried if you did that, because people file false reports all the time. They Photoshop things to implicate people in crimes and actions they didn't do because they don't like them, because they feel criticized, or they're too envious of them. People do that kind of shit all the time. They'll spray paint their fucking house and blame it on their neighbor when it's in fact them who did it to themselves to get attention. They'll Photoshop text messages. They'll lie about they'll being R'd. They'll do anything for attention. So no, she tried to throw her neighborhood under the bus. Listen, I live in a diverse neighborhood, in a diverse city. Okay, we have all kinds of people who vote all kinds of ways. Yeah, we're more progressive, and I hate that term because they should just say the conservative light. But that's okay. I mean, that's this is where I live, and like I said, it's a little more diverse in terms of my neighborhood anyway, in terms of race, political views, social views, and cultural views, and so on. Okay, and there has been a number of hate crimes in my community for certain, but none specifically to white Democrats specifically. It's something to think about. Anyway, I do not want any issues with the neighbors that we have remained civil and respectful to since this incident occurred. Remain since when? You've never been respectful of these people. You trash these people. You have made yourself the pariah of your neighborhood, wherever you are. We also don't want to add any stress to our neighbors, as one of them has been dealing with significant health-related issues. So we can't talk about your behavior. So you will use somebody else's illness and problems, okay, to use them as a shield so you don't have to deal with any criticism. Nobody's criticizing or bringing up your neighbors to hate on them or anything. Pointing out the fact that you are the shitty neighbor is not going to affect them. How you conduct yourself, how you present yourself, that's your responsibility, not any content creator's responsibility. This really shows what a shitty fucking person you can be. Owning a home isn't always easy, and living next to people can definitely cause discrimination. I would know. I live in the middle of freaking urbanity. You have no choice but to be civil to each other. Now, if I can manage that with my own goddamn emotional instability, so can you. I know that my husband and I learned how to be better dog parents while also respecting our neighbors. Your hand was forced into it. Your hand was forced into it. You drove your fucking neighbors crazy for months over this. Now, I'm not here to bring up any further ire between you and your neighbors, and I'm not throwing them under the bus by talking about this. I'm speaking from an observer based on what I've observed through information brought forward. I do not know the ins and outs of your situation there personally, because I don't know you personally. I don't know where you live per se. All I know is that you're in Minnesota, and that's it. That's it. I didn't scope out what your home looks like, anything like that. I'm not interested. I don't give a fuck. Although it would be interesting to kind of see some things around that, but it's better that I kind of use what information is available and understanding how people react to each other. I rather go by that. We have worked hard to be good neighbors to those around us, and I don't want something getting brought up years later to change the work that all of us done to improve our relationships. Katie, there is nothing that we bring up. This is part of the FOIA request that you said that we had every right to acquire as U.S. citizens, according to you. Nene Marie exercised that right. We were given permission by Nene Marie to use that information to talk about it. This isn't about bashing your neighbors or making things difficult in your relationship. You had already made a wreck of your relationship and you went online to trash these people. I don't care if they're far right. I don't care if they're Trump supporters. I don't give a shit. You don't do that to your fucking neighbors. You don't do that to them. And if you had a problem with them trashing your stuff, really, like if they were really that bothersome, they were that much of a nuisance, there were other ways for you to deal with that. But you lied about what they did to you out of reaction of the fact that you had this stuff ongoing that you caused. For crying out loud. I'm sure the creators can dig and find other police reports to my home. I was the victim of a stalker in 2020 to 2022. We had a lot of false calls made to police as a means to harass us. We worked with law enforcement to manage the issue and have not had any visits from the police due to the calls from online harassers for a couple of years now because people handed your ass back to you. You lied about the whole circumstances. You said you were swatted because they thought that Brian Laundrie was in your basement or some weird, wild, alcohol induced fucking story. I don't know. You lied about a lot of things. Now, you might have had a stalker, okay, but I don't believe you. I don't believe you, Katie Joy. I believe, in my opinion, that you made those calls. You gaslit yourself so you can drum up sympathy from your community, so you can get more subscribers, so you can scapegoat people, so you can target people. This is your plot to destroy anybody who speaks out against you. And this post is no different. This is what makes your behavior dangerous. This is dangerous behavior. I'm not here to demonize you, Katie Joy, but you are a dangerous human being because you have lied to people with lies with serious allegations against people that could have lifelong implications in their life. You have created chaos and destruction through everything that you have done here on YouTube and in your personal life and some of your interactions with people around you. You have made your life a living hell for yourself. Now, I do not want to diminish anything of what Katie Joy has done. I don't want to I don't want to diminish what she might have been through because I don't know all the facts around that. But all I know that people like this, from what I have read, that people like Katie Joy, who engages in this kind of behavior, they make up people stalking them, harassing them. They make up abuse claims. It happens all the time. You see it in the news, people trying to score against their ex-lovers because they felt cheated by them. They would make up stories of how they were how they were abused with fake documentation, with Photoshop pictures, staged crimes, theatrical crimes, in my opinion, and so on. This shit happens all the time. I'm a pretty boring person. No, you are a bored person, and you will create chaos for that excitement because nothing can satiate you. Nothing. That comes from the worthlessness that you have for yourself. That comes from how you feel about yourself, which I wish you were in ongoing therapy for. I wish you would go into DBT and work through this. I really wish you would go get some level of behavior modification, some type of therapy to help you sort this out, because you have a lot to live for. You know, you have your son, you have an amazing son, and you continue to engage in this shitty behavior. I know taking accountability is going to be hard, and you're going to face it. This 7M thing, the 7M thing is going to affect you. This is the one thing, because you keep going on and on about it. And people should not be enabling your behavior. You need help, Katie Joy. Serious fucking help to get through this. Serious help. And you have a lot to account for to people who watch you, to people who have been harmed by you through your destructive and dangerous behavior. And you're heading to the bottom very fast. Actually, I think you've nearly hit rock bottom. It's going to get worse because emotional dysregulation doesn't go away unless it is treated with therapy, DBT, and the willingness to change and the willingness to get that help. And you have enough privilege, Katie Joy, to access that. So instead of spending money on your fucking BMW to outwit, outsmart, outdo the people because you feel like you don't have enough, you could use that on therapy or get help through a community center that offers free counseling, whatever. You need the help. I can't stress enough. It gets worse. It doesn't get better. It doesn't. And you have to do something with your addictions. You need help for your addictions. Addiction is a part of that emotional instability. I have my own addiction, not to substances, but to something else. And that will be, as we say colloquially, the death of me if I don't manage it. It's a symptom. It's one of those issues with my borderline. So I hope this helps clear up the issues. No, but it has made a lot of things clear in my mind about you. I'm not upset or hurt that the report was shared, and I understand this happens as part of my job. You don't understand anything because you would not have made posts like this clarifying anything. The information in those posts and hearing you interact with the police was one of the most scary things I've heard. And it's typical of somebody with an unhealthy level of narcissism. Because I saw how you were attempting to manipulate the police. You have no respect for authority. And I understand that. I have an issue with authority myself, but I'm scared of them more than I think that I'm smarter than them. I'm scared of them, and I have a reason to be. And I'm sure you have a reason to be. Well, my reason stemmed from my childhood of stuff that happened to me. So yes, that's where my issue comes from. But I'm not going to go to the police and lie about shit. I'm simply clarifying what actually occurred. No, what actually occurred is in those reports and what we heard you say. You can come here and clarify all you want. The fact of the matter is that we're pointing out, there's a foundational timeline of what was going on, what was really going on with these legal things that were going on in your life and what you stated online. And you pull FOIA requests all the time to find out that information, but nobody can do it to you. And you don't care about your neighbors being kept out of it. Because of you, your neighbors are entangled in your own police record, your own the own calls, all that, whatever record there is in that request. You did that to your neighbors. There is nobody here talking about this can do anything to your neighbors. The damage was already done by you, Katie Joy. You did this. You don't care if they're having a lot to deal with. You've never cared about anybody else but your fucking self. You're the reason behind this problem. Your negligence, your disrespect, your disrespect of any level of authority. I know how uncomfortable that is, and it's scary. But sometimes we have to do our civic duty by responding. And Katie, you are a privileged person. You have nothing to fucking worry about. No one swatted you. You have the benefit of not of hearing police come to the door and not worried about you being injured by the cops or anything like that. You have over dramatized this whole thing through your own fucking YouTube. You did it to the police, you did it to your neighbors, you did it to your family, including your pets who are part of your family, and you did it to your fucking self. You need fucking help. Serious help. Because it's going to get worse. It doesn't get better without treatment. I'm telling you that from experience. Fuck, I'm so angry about this. Ugh. Oh gosh, I went from 0 to 100, so I'm going to close this. So this is my perspective on this. I will do the other Hi Friends posts because they're all this. I'm imagining they're all the same manipulative shit. Have a better day. I will. Bye.